For today's watch review, we're taking a look at the Phoibos Eagle Ray. And I must confess, I have been calling this company Phoibos for the longest time, but I'm also not the sharpest tool in the shed. But anyways, this is the Eagle Ray, or model number PY029D. So let's get right into it. We're looking at $360 straight from the Phoibos website. However, if you do some research and shopping around, you can find it for a bit less depending on which store you go to. I spent just over $300, and on eBay you're looking at around $339. Let's do that quick 360 just so you can see what we're dealing with here. This is a beautiful watch in my opinion. Here is the clasp, case back, other side, and there you have it. Really good looking watch. The case diameter comes in at 41.1 millimeters. Case height or thickness was 14.1 millimeters with a lug to lug of 47 millimeters. And then the band width is 20 millimeters, and then it tapers down to the smallest link, which is 17.6 millimeters. The Eagle Ray comes in at around 169 grams or 5 7/8 ounces, so just under 6 ounces. Keep in mind I have adjusted the bracelet. I removed one link, so out the box it's going to be slightly heavier. Here's the wrist shot. I've got a 7.5 inch wrist, although I probably need to recheck that. I have been gaining some weight just because I'm fat and old, but here it is, very comfortable. I think it'll fit most people's wrists, whether it's small or large. Starting from the outside and working our way in, starting with the case and bracelet material, we're looking at a 316L stainless steel. You can also see on the outside we've got two crowns. They've got the knurled texturing, and they both are screw down crowns. Next to the crowns you can see the bezel. It is a non-functioning, non-rotating bezel. It is textured, and it does hold the domed sapphire crystal, which has the anti-reflective coating applied to it. And then underneath that we've got another bezel, the internal bi-directional bezel, which is operated via the crown at the 2 o'clock position, or the upper crown. Now for the chapter ring, you can see that there are Roman numerals on the chapter ring. Kind of an interesting design feature here. I actually very much like it, but I guess that is a subjective opinion. And then inside the chapter ring you can see the indices. We've got applied indices, and then for the hands we've got radium style hands with a moon hand, second hand. On the indices and the hands we've got Super Luminova Lume applied to it. 15 layers actually, and as you can see on the screen, it's done beautifully well. You've got a very good glow in the dark, and it does last for a significant amount of time. Interesting fact, the Super Luminova paint color is called Old Radium, and so if you notice that on the indices and the hands, it's got this very rustic old style look to it, almost like a patina. That is because of the Old Radium color. I think that's the look that we're going for. They wanted it to look a little bit weathered, a little bit vintage, and I think they accomplished that style very well here. You can also see the date window at the 3 o'clock position. Not everyone's cup of tea. I think people prefer it a little bit offset in between the 4 and 5, but it is highly visible, and I've got no problem seeing the date at any time of day. Underneath all of that, we've got an SII NH35A automatic movement. And then if you look at the other side, we've got a screw down case back with that beautiful engraving. Very handsome looking package overall. And then all of this is inside the case, which provides 200 meters of water resistance. Let's go ahead and revisit that Lume shot just because it's so great, and things like good Lume on a watch really make me happy. This is made in Hong Kong, and I don't know what it is, but the watches that are coming from that area always have really good Lume for the money. So great job on that. Looking at that dial, there's a lot going on here, and it might not be your cup of tea, but I really like how they executed it all. So you've got the Arabic numerals on the inner bezel, but then you've got the Roman numerals on the chapter ring. And like I said, it might not be your cup of tea, but I really like it. It gives it like sort of a very pleasantly busy look to it. And also, everything is so highly visible here. The indices pop out at you, and then the big blocky radium style hands are very easy to see quickly. And then if you focus a little bit, you can see at the tips of the hands that it really pinpoints to the exact minute of the time. And same thing with the second hand. You've got the moon right there at the end of the hand, but then it pinpoints to the exact second, you know, if you so choose to focus on it. So everything is very easy to see, and also it's just aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. For the bezel, it is non-functioning and non-rotating, so we can't really discuss it too much. I will say that it is very pleasing to the eye. The quality of the texturing is very well done, and I think it complements the rest of the case in a good way. Phoibos did a fantastic job with the crown quality here. As you can see, we've got the knurled texturing on the crowns, both of them. And to me, that gives any watch a very industrial and tough appearance to it, like a tool watch. And another thing that is great about it is the threading. It's very easy to pull out, and then once it is out, the operation of the inner bezel is just a pleasant experience. And then putting it back in or screwing it back in is just as easy, and that applies to the 4 o'clock crown as well. It's easy to disengage, easy to hand wind, and everything feels solid and of very good quality. One thing I wanted to mention, because this was a concern that I had, was when setting the inner bezel, is there a risk of the bezel kind of moving left or right as you are screwing it back in? And I will tell you, absolutely not. So you can set it. So here I'm going to set it to 12 o'clock. And then once you push it in, then it disengages the inner bezel from rotating. And so you can get a very accurate setting on your inner bezel. So even though bracelets are kind of like an accessory or an afterthought to most watches, it really does make or break the entire wrist experience, at least for me. And in this case, the bracelet here is fantastic. It's not just a good looking bracelet, it feels good and it's of very good quality. Another thing I really like here is the clasp. So you've got very elegant branding here, so it's not too in your face, just enough to remind you where this watch is from. And then you've got the milled steel clasp here, very reminiscent of Hamilton, if you're familiar with that. And the finishing, the brushed steel, or the brushed mixed with the polished finishing here is fantastic. Oh, also, let's see, you got 3 micro adjusts. Not ideal, but I still get a very comfortable fit. For the case back, you've got a just superbly well made screw down case back. This is the kind of engravings on case backs that really make me smile. Sometimes you just got some cheap laser etched writing, Sometimes, I don't know. I mean, for those of you who are in the know with multiple watches, you know what I'm talking about. And this is definitely on the upper level of quality for case specs. You do have some writing there on the outer ring of it, but really the star of the show here is that octopus logo. Interesting choice for a logo, considering Phoibos, I want to say, is the god of light. So I don't know, maybe this is just the Greek octopus god of light. So I pretty much already gushed about the quality of finishing when we were talking about the bracelet, but going over the case, my opinions are the same. It's fantastic. You've got it brushed where it needs to be brushed, and then slightly polished on the beveled edges. So you've got the aesthetic appeal, but it still looks tough and purpose-built. The edges are very well done, not too sharp, but not too soft. Everything about it is powerful, but still looks elegant. I really like everything about it. So for my personal and overall thoughts, if you couldn't tell, I really like it. I think what you're getting here is just a solid watch from the ground up. From the bracelet to the crystal to all the other components like the crowns and the lume, it all is fantastic. There has never been a point in time that I've owned this watch that, there were things that I was unhappy with. And Phoibos is sort of my first foray outside of large name watch brands. If you see the channel, you know that I normally stick with Citizen, Seiko, Casio, G-Shock, very large companies. And Phoibos, I don't know if they're a micro brand, but I definitely don't think that they're a major watch brand. And in this case, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I think that this is a phenomenal ambassador to introducing me into smaller tiered watch companies. And again, with the quality of things like the crown, these are things that really impress me. Everything about how it functions and how it feels and moves, it's all tightly fitted together. The tolerances are good. So yeah, I am a happy customer. But it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There are some things that I would like to change in my perfect world. So one thing that I don't like, that I feel like would make it an absolute winner, is the removal of the date window. Some of you might disagree with me. I'm just not a fan of date windows. I feel like it's just one extra thing on the dial, and I could do without. Another thing is maybe removing this crown. Now, I don't know what that would do functionally to the overall operation of the watch, because you have to have that second crown. I just feel like they should make a version of this with just the one offset crown, and you would get a beautifully simple and elegant looking watch. Another opinion of mine that I know a lot of you are going to disagree with is I don't think any watch with an NH35 movement should cost more than $300. And this is coming from somebody who absolutely loves the NH35. I love a budget watch, and I don't know, it's just how I feel. I used to think that any watch with an NH35 movement should only be $150 max. But then I noticed that there are watches out there like the San Martin that are fantastic. And so I was willing to pay $200+ for the watch with an NH35 movement. And now I see watches that are $300, and then I saw the newly released Zelos Hammerhead for $400 to $500. And so now I'm asking you, my viewers, what do you think is the max price for an NH35 movement watch? Do you think really good cases and crystals and bracelets justify spending that much, even though you've got a budget-friendly movement? And this is just a question, and please don't take away from this that I think that the NH35 is not a good movement. I think it's a fantastic movement. But does it justify $300 more price tags? So I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but going back to the Phoibos Eagle Ray, my final thoughts: yes, it's fantastic. Yes, I do recommend it to you. In this case, it's not as popular as other Phoeboses that, from what I've seen. So it's still readily available, which is fantastic. So if you've been looking at it, go ahead and get one and you will not be disappointed. That's all I gotta say for now. I hope that this review helps you with your next watch purchase. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're so inclined, feel free to join my Discord server. The link is in the description below. We talk about watch stuff, random stuff, giveaways. I do all my giveaways on the Discord server just because I really want it to be for the community and like the regular viewers. So if that applies to you, make sure to join the server as soon as you can. And that's all I got for now. So I'll catch you guys later. All right, bye.